spiritual practice in daily life for inner balance and peace. You know, it is the age of Kali Yuga, right? And people don't mind a talk which is just about, say, peace or inner balance. But the moment spiritual comes in between, then people switch off. Although this is a dire necessity today, the balance definitely is. And you hear of all kinds of talks. It's like inner management and inner engineering. Just leave it there. Don't bring in the word spiritual. And today, the word spiritual is differentiated from religion. So if it's religion, then probably there will be even lesser people over here, because religion is considered to be a dogma or a creed. I don't know why this differentiation has come about in today's age, but it's there. So, such a subject on its own is definitely gaining popularity because of the alarming rise in stress levels. Research reveals that 85% of the people living here experience stress. So therefore, taking into consideration the pathetic state of human beings, in spite of all the progress in technology, such a subject has been discussed by a variety of people, ranging from psychiatrists, philosophers, religious teachers, spiritual teachers, doctors, health consultants. I'm just going straight to the root cause of the discontent and disbalance we experience in life. When you listen to this talk, you will realize how simple it is to understand what the reason of disbalance is and what is the way out. So, as I said, I'm going to begin from the root. What is the cause of this disbalance? Stress, etc. I'll tell you a story about a person who went to a doctor, to a GP, and all the person did was, for about over half an hour, complain about pains all over his body. Every part of his body was in pain. So, obviously, what do doctors do? They send you for checkups to find out what the reason is. X-rays and whatever it may be, whatever is required. That man went through every checkup, and what was the result? Zero. There's nothing wrong with the person. Now the doctor was totally perplexed. He couldn't understand. I mean, the way the person was complaining, almost in tears, and every report is perfect. There's nothing wrong with the person, inside out. So when the person went there again and found out, what is the result? Can you tell me why am I feeling pain? I still feel the pain. The doctor said, I don't really know. I'm puzzled. Why do you experience? There's nothing wrong with you at all. Every report is perfect. He said, but I'm telling you, wherever I touch, I just feel so much intense pain. So the doctor just watched this man. He touched his head, he touched his shoulders, he touched his neck. Wherever he touched, pain. Suddenly the doctor saw something. Hey, just show me your hand. And this patient showed his hand. His fingers were swollen. They were bruised, right? He said, that's where the pain is. You are touching your body with these bruised fingers. You need to sort out your fingers and not your body. It's full of pus. So he's saying that's where the pain was, and wherever you touch with these bruised fingers, you're bound to experience pain. That's the root. You're not going to the root and you're beating about the bush, my head, my neck, my this, my that and that. Well, this is exactly the case with all of us. We are trying all sorts of methods in this world to overcome stress, ranging from people go about exercising, leisure centers, watching TV, etc. And then when they get too desperate, then what do? Drugs, drinking. That's a good way to get to a state of forgetfulness, just to overcome all this. So there are many temporary methods being practiced. Some are not harmful, but some are. And in fact, in reality, you don't need to go through any of these methods. We experience peace every day. Temporary peace, don't you experience? We all do. Every night, when you're in a state of deep sleep, so peaceful. There cannot be any peace greater than that. Even the doctor can give you anesthesia, and there you are. You forget everything, no stress, till the time the anesthesia is there in your body. So these are all temporary methods. We must go to the root. If you want a permanent cure, you need to go to the root. And the root is what? You. You, that is I. I want peace, isn't it? I want to be happy. It's I. It's all about the I. So unless and until we understand this I, then whatever method, whatever treatment we try to adopt to attain a peace of mind, a balance, is all going to be futile because we haven't started from the rock bottom. That's you. We are thinking it's all due to outside circumstances, my job, my children, my financial situation, etc., etc. It's about you. I. Who am I? How often we use this word I, isn't it? Through the day. I went out today, I was thinking that I told this to him, I went here, I went there, I did this, I, right? And we also use other pronouns. We use the word he came to my house. And you didn't listen to me. So these are pronouns, right? He and you. Where did you go today? No, I went to the temple. And what about you? You're talking to the he. What about he, your neighbor? Did he come? No, he didn't come. And when you meet the neighbor, you ask, what happened? Why didn't you come? Well, I was busy. Now, every person that you addressed as you or he, when that person talked about themselves, what did they say? I. Right? So we think the I is different from the you and the he, but even that you and the he, वो सब लोग मैं बोलते हैं ना, they all say I. So सबका नाम क्या है? I. Everybody is I. What is this I? When you ask anybody, just can you introduce yourself? What do people do? They all know. The first thing they tell you is their name. But that's not you, is it? Did you have a name when you were born? You were there, you existed. Who are you? I'm asking you that. So the next answer is usually, well, I'm a Gujarati, I'm a Bengali, I'm English, I'm American, whatever that is. That's not you. वो तुम्हारी जाति है, कुछ भी बोलो. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, that's your profession. I am point blankly asking you who you are. Well, and then you get all worked up. Okay, I'm a man. Is that fine? Isn't that a good answer? Human being? No. That is wrong. That's the name of your body. And all the answers that you gave so far, they were totally wrong because they were not about you. They were all about your body. Sindhi, Gujarati, Punjabi, or you say I'm a doctor, engineer, or you say I'm a human being. It's all about the body. I'm asking about you. Who are you? Now we don't need to go into any book of scripture or any philosophy to understand this to a certain level. We all know about it. And we can understand this through two states that we know about. One state we are experiencing. What is this state called? Living. We are alive, right? We experience that. Now we see, we hear, we taste everything. And when we talk about ourselves, I saw this. I see, I hear. So when we use these words, it's like you're identifying yourself with the body, right? Because I see, I hear, I taste, I touch. It's all about the body. What happens when you get into bed and you are sleeping? And in that sleep you're dreaming, right? In the dream state, what happens? Where are your eyes? Closed. Inside the quilt. Some people, you know how they sleep. It's very unhealthy. Quilt is right above their heads. So definitely all the sense organs are kind of dead to the world. They don't even hear anything. So because you don't get fresh oxygen, you see, you cover up yourself so much. But even if you don't cover yourself, your eyes are closed, right? Ears, you don't hear anything. And yet, in the state of dream, you experience everything. I saw that. I saw the Taj Mahal in my sleep. And wow, the ice cream I tasted, I don't think I've ever had it. So you do everything in the dream state. You see, you hear, you even can become a king of the world in the dream state. And you are even beaten by somebody, or you even fear in the dream state. You saw a lion last night. So you experience happiness, sorrow, fear, everything in that deep state. Who experiences it at that time? The body is dead to the world, right? The mind. The mind is working. And the mind has got its own sense organs. Did you know that? The mind has got subtle eyes, subtle ears, everything. All the sense organs the mind has. Now the mind can use these external organs when it wants to. Like right now you're using. You're using the eyes, you're using the ears, right? The mind is taking the help of these outer organs. But when we are dreaming, the mind doesn't need the help of these outside organs because it has its own senses. So in the state of dreams, the I is the mind. And when we are awake, I is the body. Okay? Now let's get to the next state. What is the next state? Deep sleep. इसको कहते हैं सुषुप्ति. When you don't dream. No dreams at that time. Actually, this is real sleep. This is when you are rested. Because when you dream all night, you get up feeling tired because the mind has been working all night. So in the state of deep sleep, the mind is also dead to the world. What remains? Only one thing, the I. When you wake up from the deep sleep, what do we say? The Vedas describe this as Sukhamaham Nakinchidaham avedesham. I slept so peacefully, I did not know a thing. And the Vedas, this is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, mantra number 2321. It says something very wonderful. That doesn't mean you keep going to sleep over here, but you'll be surprised to hear what the Vedas say, prajnenatmana samparishvakto. You know what happens in deep sleep? Why is that the most happiest moment of your life? In comparison to that, everything else pales into insignificance. Suppose a person is given, well, we'll make you the king, we will give you whatever you want to eat, you'll have all the wealth, everything possible. Condition is you cannot sleep. What will the person say? Hell with your kingship. I won't sleep. Right? Even sometimes when you're unable to sleep, some stress, 2 or 3 nights, how fatigued you feel. Right? So sleep is God's way of really putting us to rest, giving us some peace away from this outside world where we go through so much stress. And what happens at that time? That Supreme Being, Paramatma, He embraces Atma. It is a state of divine embrace at that time, and that's why it is the most blissful moment. Because what is left? 2 entities. The scriptures say, doesn't Sri Krishna say, Ishvara sarva bhutanam nirdeshe juna tishtati, 1861 Bhagavad Gita. Ya atmani tishtati, the Ved says. Dvasuparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parikhasva jati, Shvetashvatara 4:6. 2 entities, the soul and the Supreme Soul. Now, there's no time to go into the details of this. Some people will say, no, there are not 2 entities. The soul is God, etc., etc. Maybe when you have questions, I'll answer that. But right now, we are dealing with the main root. So, 2 entities. And isn't it good to feel that you are in divine embrace? But that embrace is so blissful that you fall unconscious. You're not aware of it. You're not aware that you are in divine embrace. You are not even aware of the world at that time. Do you know? Whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're a millionaire or you're a pauper, you don't know nothing. So you're in a state of unconscious bliss because the mind is asleep at that time. You know what I'm speaking to you is very deep Vedanta. Very profound. But I'm putting it in the common man's language. Anybody can understand. So at that time, because the mind is also asleep, we do not experience that bliss. You need the experiencing faculty. The experiencing faculty is the mind. The mind is asleep. So what remains is I and He, the Supreme Being, and that is the state of embrace as the Vedas say. But when we get up, when we wake up, then everything comes back. Whatever you have, I have to rush here, I've got to go to the hospital, I've got bills to pay, I don't have the money, I've lost my job, whatever, everything comes back. But that state of deep sleep, that what remains is the I. Now we are talking about the state that we are in right now. Let's contemplate on another state. What is that? Death. We don't like this word death. But actually speaking, there's no death. In reality, there's no death. You don't die ever. Those who are familiar with the Gita know that. Sri Krishna says, Najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavitavana bhuya. 220. So anyway, we talk about death the way we see it. Till we are alive, running around is going on. The old man is so sick, he doesn't have the energy to cough. And yet everybody is running around, doctors, medicines, he's still alive. Now what happens the moment he dies? Then all the running around ceases. What happened? He's no more. Don't we use those words? He is left the world. Sansar se chala gaya, right? And here there is a big crowd of people. If that person is a very famous personality, thousands are there. What for? Why are you going there? The person has left the world, isn't it? Yes, 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 but we are going there to pay our last respects to the body. He is gone. And that's why the family members, why are you crying? Isn't that the person whom you love dearly? Your father, your husband, your son, whoever he is. The family members are crying and that person is lying right there. The person they identified as the father, that big photo over there, that's him. Why are you crying? सामने तो है? नहीं, वो गया. Isn't it the way we speak? And not only people who believe in the soul, but even the communist countries, they talk about death in the same way that those are believing people. They say he has departed from the world, he has left the world, right? So that means there are two, right? That which is lying before you, ये आप बोलते हैं शरीर है, that's the body, right? And somebody that left, that which left, that's different, isn't it? We differentiate between the two at the time of death. All of us become very wise. At that time we are all very wise. वो अलग है, वो अलग है. There are two. But we very soon forget this, and it's all about body, body, body when we are living. And this whole world, this whole advertising, it's all based upon this body business. They keep getting us into this vicious circle of identifying with your body, how you can look young, how you can look beautiful, how you can enjoy a holiday in France. It's all about the body. Everything is about a body. And so even if you want to get out of this thinking, knowing that there is a difference between the two, but this whole world, the environment we are in, it gets us to this body identification. So we are two agreed. One is this body and one is that spark of energy within which is keeping this body alive from head to toe. So till that energy spark, or what you call the soul, is there, we see, we hear. Anywhere you have a small little pinprick, it hurts. You accidentally touch even that incense stick, burning stick, small little flame. Oh, it hurt. And when the person is no more, then what do people do? Different people have different ways of getting rid of the body. That's what they do. Bury under the ground for the worms to eat it up. Just imagine. That body, Miss Universe, the Prime Minister, and he's underneath, mitti mein gaya. Right? And in Hinduism and certain other religions, they burn the body. Does that person lying on that heap of pile of wood protest? Oh my God, you're burning me. You can cut that person into pieces. No feeling, isn't it? That means that consciousness, that life that was there, once that leaves, then this body becomes dead matter. Right? Like this pillow is dead matter. There's no life there. So that's what our body is in reality. It is dead matter, that's what it is. But it's that energy spark within that makes this body appear beautiful. The beauty is not the outside body, it's that energy spark within. How long you would look at Miss Universe when the person is no more? No, the beauty starts fading away. In fact, you cannot be near that dead body for even a couple of hours because it decays. If it's not being kept properly the way people now preserve bodies, if it is not preserved and it's been there lying 10 hours, then you can imagine what it is. The same body, it decays, it smells. The same body which we look after all the time. So we are two things. This is very important. And this is how the teaching of Bhagavad Gita begins. When Arjuna says to Sri Krishna, my mind is stressed, I'm very disturbed. Doesn't he say, Shoka sambhigna manasa? 147 Bhagavad Gita. Bhramati vachame mana. 130. My mind is in a state of confusion. I'm miserable. I want peace. I want a balance. And how does he start with this balance, Sri Krishna? He begins with his teachings by making Arjuna understand the two things. What is the body? What is the soul? This is the base. This is the root. And these two things, we are two things, but both the things are totally opposite in nature. This body is material. It's a mixture of the 5 elements, isn't it? Because when we burn the body, people, they take, even in this country, after the body has been, whatever the electric chair they put, then they have that handful of ash. That's what they take back to India to immerse in the rivers, whatever they do. But that's what remains of it. So it's a mixture of the 5 elements. So the body is material, agreed? Second, the body is temporary. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha, says Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. That which is born must die. So we learn about this body. First, it is material. Second, it is temporary. And third, it is lifeless matter. Jad hai, jad. As I said, like this pillow. So 3 main things. And what is a soul? One thing we can know from our own experience, like we talked about just now. So long as that energy spark, the I is there within the body is alive. Right? So that means I is consciousness. It's life. This we can logically understand from our... we have to go through that state someday, but we have seen people dying, right? So we know what I'm talking about. One day, we are all in the queue, same queue. If we were to think about death, I tell you, automatically we will try to understand what balance is about. We don't think. Everybody is going through life as though they are never going to leave this world. You have to leave. We don't know when we are going to leave. And it's because of that, there is no inclination to understand. Because everybody is running, living on the body level. So what about the soul? It's conscious. Second, Sri Krishna says, Mamaivahanshu jivaloke jivabhutas sanatana. You can only know up to this much. I'll tell you more about the soul. What does he say? 15:7 chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Each soul is a part of me. Mamaivansho jivaloke. We are parts of Sri Krishna. And the third thing he reveals, the soul is beyond birth and death. There is no death. And those who have understood this concept, this truth from within, they have no fear of death, because they know death is just a common in life. You just move on. We are sitting here today. We have died countless times. And we are back here alive. Again we'll die, and again we'll be born. This is continuous. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. So the soul is eternal. These two things Sri Krishna reveals. The soul is a part of me. That means it's divine. God is divine. The soul is a divine entity. And this is not only in the Bhagavad Gita, it's in the very foundation. The Vedanta, Ancho Nana Vyapadesha, 2.3.42. Chinmatram Shri Hare Rancham. The Ved says that too. So, we are two things, one the body, one the soul. The body is temporary, the body is material, the body is lifeless, right? And the soul is consciousness, the soul is divine, and the soul is eternal. Totally opposite, isn't it? So, two things. Therefore, the subject of these two things will be different according to the nature and balance of the body and the soul is going to give you peace. If you are not going to balance the two, the soul and the body, there is bound to be stress, there is bound to be discontent. Because if you do not feed the body, you do not look after the body, as Sri Krishna says, then what will happen? Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikanta manashnata nachat swapna shilasya jagrito naivacharjuna yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. 6:16, 6:17. This body is a machine. It's been given to you for a certain purpose. So you have to eat rightly, right food, right sleep, right looking after. If you do not do it, Arjun, you are bound to suffer. Exactly in the same way, the soul, the divine entity, that also needs to be fed. You are feeding the body, but the soul is hungry. And the soul is a real I. So Sri Maharaj, my spiritual master, is an authority in India. In India we have authorities who are authorities to teach the whole world. They are referred to as Jagat Gurus. That means teachers of the whole world. So Sri Maharaj, my divine master, he is also the present day 5th original Jagat Guru of India. And how wonderfully and how simply he explains this. He used one slogan which was used in India long back for family planning. What was the slogan? Hum do, hamare do. Hum do means we are husband and wife. So, do means have only 2 children, not more than that. The population is increasing. So that was what the slogan was about. Hum do, hamare do. So he said, I'm not bothered what they used it about, but I'm using it to teach you the simple truth of the scriptures. Hum do, body and soul, or hamare do, the body is material, the subject of the body is the material world. According to the entity, the subject will be corresponding nature. The soul is divine. Therefore, the subject of the soul is divine. That's it. Atma ka subject kya? Paramatma. As simple as that. So the soul can only attain peace or fulfillment or complete satisfaction when there is a union, a conscious union of the soul and the Supreme Being. I can give you an example in the material world. You pick up a lump of clay. It's a part of the earth, right? You let go, where will it go? Very naturally back to the earth. You don't need to force it to go there. It will naturally go back because it's a part of the earth. All the rivers in the world, they rush. They are parts of the sea. And when they meet the sea, they enter into the sea and merge into it, that's when they attain a completion, a fulfillment. They're back into that which they are a part of. Similarly, we being parts of that divine entity, we can only attain peace, fulfillment when there is a connection to that divine entity. So what's happening in the world today? The total identification is only with the body. So therefore, Hum ek, hamara ek, bas that's it. I am a body and this world. That's everything that belongs to me. And that's where I'm going to attain peace, that's where I'm going to attain happiness. Do you know what Sri Krishna said to Uddhav in reply to his question? Can you tell me who is the greatest fool? I want to know that. Because I don't want to be a fool myself, so let me find out who is the fool. So Sri Krishna replied, Murkho Dehad Deham Buddhi, 1942 Bhagavad Purana. The person who identifies himself as the body, this body all the time, body, I am the body, he is the greatest fool, Uddhav. Now, for us to identify whether we belong to that category or not, how do we find out? Because obviously, when we listen to talks and we know all about the Gita and all, yes, we know I'm a soul. But how do we really clarify? By finding out what is the decision of your intellect. Where are you engaged in search for happiness? Are you looking for happiness, fulfillment in the material world? Or are you looking for fulfillment from the divine? If you consider yourself as a soul, then automatically you will seek fulfillment from the divine and you will use this world for the fulfillment of the needs of the body. What do you need? Food, clothes and shelter, right? And that's what the world is for. God created this world because we need it for our body. Nobody says, if you neglect this body, you will suffer. You need the world. Even those who are great sannyasis, do you think they live without eating? Okay, they didn't cook, fine. But they went begging, isn't it? So they ate. They needed food. And even they needed the world. Some people say the world is an illusion. This is all talk. If the world isn't an illusion, then why are you eating? Okay, I'll stop eating. Are you breathing? You're breathing the air. Even that's a part of the element. Okay, I'll stop breathing. You're sitting on the earth. That's also an illusion. You shouldn't be sitting there. How far are you going to say it's an illusion? It's a reality. So we need the world for this body. At the same time, the soul needs God. It's simple as that. Both the subjects are different because both these things are different. The body is different, totally different from the soul, and therefore the subject is different. Now, if you do not give the subject according to what that eye, so we have two eyes. Okay, let's make it more simple. One eye is a real eye, and one eye is the unreal eye. Unreal means that which is temporary. Body is temporary. Today we are here, tomorrow we are gone. So this is not a reality. One day it will be gone. It's temporary. So one is a real eye and one is the unreal eye. The real eye is divine, a part of God, and therefore the subject of the real eye is that Supreme Being. This unreal eye, that's also I, that's the body, that's temporary, the world is temporary, therefore the subject of the body is this world. Can there be anything more simple than this? It's so straight. How can you not understand this? We all see death, don't we? And at that time you say two are different. That person's gone, that person's gone, this is the body. And at that time we differentiate between the two completely. And now we forget about it. So that's why we are not able to achieve a permanent balance. As I said, we can for some time attain peace, okay, take to drinking, sleeping, temporary peace, it's all there. People rushing to psychiatrists, if when they are in stress, they won't come here. They don't think the answer is here. The answer is the psychiatrist, go there. Pay money, maybe it's free here, I don't know. Nobody heard about psychiatrists. I think when I was a child, going to a psychiatrist used to be a shameful thing. It's like you're mad. Mental. Actually, we are all mental. When you're in a state of anger, when you're in a state of greed, when you're jealous, these are all mental disbalances, isn't it? And mental disbalance has to come about when our total focus is on the body and you neglect the soul. You are two things. How can you neglect the real I? And that is done at the expense of this material world. Everybody is madly running around. The focus is money. I just told you 85% are regularly stressed in UK. And most of the researches that have been conducted in America, everywhere, you know what they have found out? The first cause of stress is money. The second cause of stress is work. The third cause of stress is family. And fourth cause of stress is health. So money comes first. And you'll be surprised to know it's not about money that I don't have enough for my bills, etc., or for whatever you wanted. Those people who earned less than 50,000 were less stressed than those who earned more than 50,000. There you go. There's a very interesting story about what's happening with most people in this world. One saint happened to go to a village, and in that village he suddenly saw people in a grass field, very big field. They were just rushing around, like here and there, madly looking for something. So he was very curious to know. He asked an old man standing there, what are these people doing? What are they looking for? He said, well, they are trying to catch their shadow. Shadow. He said, he couldn't understand the sense behind that, catching the shadow. Who told them to do that? Why are they catching their shadow? He said, well, there was a tiny man who came wearing black clothes to the village this morning, and he said to the villagers that whosoever is able to catch his shadow will become prosperous and enjoy a very high status. And that's why everybody is engaged in that search and struggle to catch hold of their shadows. So he watched, he smiled internally, did not say anything, because it was such a stupid thing. I mean, how could anybody even suggest that? After some time watching them, he asked this man, has anybody caught their shadow up to now? He said, well, to be truthful, nobody has, because you know how strange this shadow can be. Sometimes it's here and sometimes it's there. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. And even when it's right beside you, you cannot even hold it. So it's a very, very strange thing. Until now, nobody has been able to catch their shadow. But yes, they are working very hard. So the saint thought, let me stand, wait, I'm going to watch this. And what happened? When the sun set, then all the shadows disappeared. And when the shadows disappeared, the villagers were very, very upset. They spent the entire day and they could not catch their shadow. So you can imagine how depressed and upset they were, and seeing them, this saint smiled. Now this old man didn't like that. He said, how can you be so uncompassionate towards these poor people? They worked all day and they haven't attained, and you're smiling at them. You should be consoling them. It's not the right thing to do. Why did you smile? He said, I'm sorry, I did not smile at them. I was just thinking about what's happening in this world. I could understand exactly the wild goose chase that the whole world is in. Everybody is running, running, running to the extreme limit of madness. More money. It's all more about money, especially in Kali Yuga today. So they're chasing, they're earning money and they're hoarding it. And for this money, all relationships also, they all break apart. Nothing is important. So I was thinking what's happening in this world. And when it is dusk, by dusk he meant when people leave the world. Then, after all that they have done, they leave empty-handed. Nothing goes with them. They come empty-handed and they leave empty-handed. They are only chasing the shadow like these people have. This is exactly the story that happens in this world when the whole focus is only I and the body and this world is mine. And the more I have of it, the more I am going to be at peace and happiness. And in reality, it is the other way around. The more we have of this world, the more restless, because desire brings restlessness, and this is not food for the soul. It's like a person having a very, very beautiful cage. And this cage is made of gold. And he has studded rubies and diamonds into it. And he invites people over to show them his beautiful cage so they would admire it. And inside the cage was this bird which was almost half dead. So he was decorating the cage without feeding the bird within. So we are decorating the outside, houses, cars, ourselves, everything about it, and not feeding the bird inside, the soul. If the soul, the real I is hungry, how can you expect to attain peace? It's impossible. Temporary, yes, but this permanency, it will not happen. So what is balance? Very beautifully put by Vedavyas. Yato bhyudaya nishreyasasa siddhi. Balance of body and soul. We need both material and spiritual, and balance of the two is going to bring peace. If you're not going to balance the two, then the result is right before us. So, how do we balance the two? It's easy to listen to all about these shadows and we understand it, but it takes time. You have to think about it. You have to think about it to be able to let go. Because everybody is engaged in that wild goose chase. So therefore, how do we balance? And this is exactly what the Bhagavad Gita talks about. And it's only when we learn from there, because Bhagavad Gita is not something which was a truth proclaimed by Sri Krishna 5,000 years ago. It's eternal truth. It is eternal truth that has been very profoundly referred to in the Vedas, and he explained it in a simpler form in the Bhagavad Gita with example. And this truth is going to be a source of balance and peace to humanity so long as they are in this world seeking the real balance and peace. So how do we achieve this balance? We will contemplate on this tomorrow. Now you have understood what balance means. So achieving this balance is what we are going to discuss, not today but tomorrow. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai. Srimad Satguru Sarkar ki Jai.